This is the Tapped In Podcast, the podcast for beverage distributors that want to empower their sales team to drive business results. Listen up and welcome back to another episode of the Tapped In Sales Podcast, your podcast for beer distributors by beer distributors. I'm your host, Bud, here with Magic Mike, because it is March Madness basketball theme. You got your state colors on. Are they doing? I don't pay attention to the sport balls well enough. Are they doing well?
Yeah, man. Yeah, Sweet 16 or not Sweet 16. Yeah, they are Sweet 16. And then tonight, they play tonight, and then hopefully make it to the Elite Eight. So Michigan also plays. You know, I'm one of those rare Michigan State fans. I root for both teams depending on what sport it is. I don't usually root against either one of them, so it's not like I hate Michigan, but go Sparty, especially college hoops.
College hoops. Yep. So we are off and running on the college hoops game. We are here. Mikey, you had a little event earlier this is something that takes place at Oberon Day. It's basically the launch of spring in Michigan. And being from Michiganders that we are, this is a big deal. You, of course, made your way out in the snow because that's how Michigan celebrates spring as well. So you made it out on Oberon today, right?
Yeah, I thought it was ironic just because of a little backstory. You know, the last couple episodes we've talked about drinking events, right? And a reason to come together and just to get out and be social and be together. And yeah, it was Oberon Day, and it's a big deal in Michigan. I know some people that have Oberon in their portfolios. Obviously, it releases this time of year in the north. I think in the south it's around all the time, but it's a big deal in Michigan because not only does Oberon come out, but it's the first sign of spring, right? It's the launch of spring. It's like, yes, we made it through the winter. Spring is here. Spring has sprung, and everybody blows off work and they all go downtown to the brewery, and they close down the street, and they always have a big theme every year, and it's a big deal from open to close. So we made our way down there this year, but this year was a little different because it wasn't 70 and sunny. It wasn't even 50 and sunny. It was actually like in the 20s, upper 30s, and snowing on and off. So they had to change it up a little bit, move some stuff into some indoor heated tents and move some outdoor activities inside, but it was great. I do have a little video, but this comes back to, I was so shocked because of the weather, and I had figured that the outcome or the attendance would be down for sure because the weather was poor. Usually you're outside, there's a band playing, and you're kind of enjoying the weather and your Oberon out at the same time. But with the way that everything switched, I was like, nobody's going to be there. But this place was packed, and this was 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And from what I was told, it was like this all day. So a great reason to get out and enjoy friends and enjoy a beer together, right? Yeah, so I was amazed at how many people came out. Look at this. This is the back room where the music's going, right? You can't move in here. It's packed. This is the main pub area.
In their coats and their
vests, right? Outside, people braving the elements, hanging out outside. This is the heated tent. So just another great example of if you make it, they will come, right? Like a fun event, a reason to get together and have a few beers.
So what beer is all about, bringing people together, and that's what we need, and that's what we want. So good job on going out and participating too. I love it. Absolutely. And in Florida, where I am now from, Oberon's here all the time.
So weird.
Year round. Every day's an Oberon day. So
every day is an Oberon day.
I used to love when you did like the Tuberon, where you weren't sure if it was a Two-Hearted or an Oberon. There may have been a couple lackadaisical keg fills from time to time. It's like, ooh, that one's pretty hoppy.
Oh yeah, that's the big thing too in Michigan. Everybody's like, "Have you tried Oberon this year? Well, what'd you think?" Because everybody's 100% convinced that the recipe changes every year, and everybody's like, I think last year was much better, and it doesn't matter the year. It's like, no, that's your memory. You just remember it being better.
I got one straight. There was just 50-50, Two-Hearted and Oberon for sure, 100%. Well, kind of the big topic we want to talk about today was what's killing your mo on the sales team. And we've had some fun on sites recently. And so I've seen some misaligned incentives, and maybe like the death of autonomy is coming to an end. And actually, we're getting some autonomy back into the field with the clients that we're working with. And this comes up specifically because I got an interesting text over the weekend.
You did.
So this was on a Saturday after we were at Dana Distributing. And so on a Saturday, a rep on their own accord texted me 3 pictures and said, "Hey, this is what I did this week to focus on GP." And I think this is incredible that you can see the power of autonomy and giving somebody a tool and something to work on and kind of a vision of what the business is trying to get done, that they can take advantage of these opportunities. And we were kind of prepping for this. And the thing to think about is like, hey, if you tried to make an objective for everything, it's almost impossible to pull off and create all the objectives and PFP stuff or incentives to capture all of the opportunities. And even if you did that and you were successful in being able to do that, would anything actually be an objective?
Right.
And how do we take advantage of, Adam Smith's, if anybody wants to go down a rabbit hole of economics, Adam Smith's metaphor of the invisible hand, and how we get the invisible hand of incentives, or I call it the silent hand of incentives, to work when we're not in the room telling a rep what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And we got some fun examples today to start to actually walk through that. So here is what Brandon from Dana Distributing shared with us. So looking down here, these was just tech. Hey man, these are things that I did this week to focus on GP. Kona 16-ounce cans. And then this, Mikey, can you see what this is?
A little bit. I can't
This
tell
one
the
of their
branding,
this
though.
I think is one of their craft beers they sell too.
All right.
So a bunch of 16-ounce cans.
Yeah.
Price. This is in a similar type store that we saw the Tally thing at. All these prices are digital.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
Yep.
That's a high price on a 6-pack, 16-ounce can, so I'm sure it's high GP as well.
Exactly. Then also, oops, this is the wrong way. Then let's do this. Ooh, this is the next one. Look at that. This is an
good to go.
kind of like a side end cap that Brandon got of all good to grow. I mean, look at all that GP sitting there getting ready to be scooped up.
You know what I love about that? Look at where it's at. Right next to the eggs. Right? Mm-hmm. Mom has to go to the eggs. If you're going grocery shopping, I don't care if it's your second or third time of the week you're going grocery shop, you're picking up eggs. And mom has to go into that door, or dad, and grab the eggs, and then the kid's just standing there looking at those delicious bottles.
And the eggs are already $7 a carton, so this looks like a deal.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
this looks like an absolute deal. And then Dana Distributing, one of the few wholesalers that's actually going to keep Ghost, was able to convert an end cap here all to Ghost in the energy category, all high GP as well.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
That looks
great. You gotta love that. A Swedish olive top flavors on top, other flavors on the bottom that do well, all nicely packed out, ready for the weekend, right?
Yeah, and for the listeners that are not on Spotify watching the video, it's an end cap of the checkout lane, which is just a beautiful location, right? Last minute. Oh yeah, I definitely need one of those. Throw that on the belt as well.
Grab and go.
Love it. That's great.
So Brandon, good work. These are great examples of exactly what we talk about on how you've got silent hand economics, invisible hand economics, where when we're not in the room, reps are doing what they want to be done. And the kind of exciting thing here is that he's looking at it through the lens of how distributors make money, right? There's volume and profit, and he's got high volume things that he's moving across different categories and high margin things as well, and blending the opportunities across using the creativity there too. So gotta love it, Brandon. Good for you, my man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yep.
The other thing that I've seen recently too is there's always a lot of incentives around like building displays or focusing that suppliers want displays out too. And I've seen some incredible creative displays from one of our clients in Chicago. We did some of these incentive tracking earlier in, I think this was from the end of January, and it's just been a hot minute until I could get these together too. But check this out. This was around St. Patrick's Day.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
We've got all the Guinness stuff all queued up right with the Jameson and the Killians. I mean, this is screams Irish Center, right?
Yeah, that's all things St. Patrick's Day right there. One stop.
Just what Mike, right where Mike wants to be. Somewhere
Yeah.
between a bottle of Jameson and
And
a
a
16-ounce can or a pint of Guinness.
Oh, man. It takes me back. Let's put on some green and pretend it's St. Patrick's Day again. Bring on the Jameson.
I love it. Other next one, too, this was just before Super Bowl. Hey, yo, that blew up a little bit fast. Is that we've got a Twisted Tea, America's Parties with Tea. I mean, I had never seen this before, but like the play on the tea party is hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's great.
You got the topper here, you got pricing. It's right next to the other Sam Adams stuff, and Truly and Sam Adams Lager as well. And then this one, did I double pull that one? Whoopsie. Yes, I did. And then this one too, all the NA.
Oh, yeah. That's all NA, the whole entire end cap?
All NA. Heineken Zero. This is Go Brewing. Then we've got Blue Moon. I think that's Blue Moon NA or Blue Moon Zero.
Yeah.
And then you've got
Guinness Zero.
Guinness Zero Athletic. You've got White Claw Zero over here. And then if anybody wants to fall off the bus,
Yeah, it's a little temptation on the bottom
if
left.
anybody wants to fall off the bus and that, you're in the month, we're in the month of January or midway through and we're ready to make it wet January again. We got a little side, one of the AB reps snuck in a little side stack of neutral right there.
Oh my gosh. Just in case.
Just in case.
Yeah. How strong is your willpower?
So
that's beautiful. Obviously, some high GP items too, all on an end cap, right at the entrance of the wine and the beer aisle. So when you're walking down, you're like, "Oh man, I missed those aisles." One more month to go, and then you see all the NAs. You're like, "Yeah, yep. I'll go for one of these."
So those were great examples from Jason. Was the Irish St. Patrick's Day one. Ray, I think it's Ray. Is Ray Renee. There it is. Renee in the tea party, and then Desiree here as well. So good work to you three as well, using creativity. And I mean, everyone had price on it. Everyone had multiple brands on it, augmenting opportunities here and maximizing the capabilities. So,
and you're saying most of those were on their own, right? Not PFP planned. Get this, get that. That was a lot of autonomy. Just, hey, I know that this makes sense. This is what I can get in this store. This is what I want to drive in this store, and I have this space, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's do it up. Let's do what's best for sure. So you got to love it. And like the Mo side, if anybody wants to read this book, I think I've talked about this before. I don't know if I have on the podcast, but there's a great book called Drive by Dan Pink. And it's mastery, autonomy, and purpose are the three things that drive us as humans. And when you give people the knowledge and the capability to master their job, when you give them the autonomy to actually tackle the tasks on their own without being micromanaged, and then when you also get them to understand the purpose as to why are we doing what we're doing every day? We're spending time at work. What is the purpose? Then you actually drive incremental behavior. We talked about this on a bunch of different other podcasts. It's rooted in the incentive. Which one was it, Mikey? It was the
incentives versus entitlements.
Perfect. That was a lot of that's rooted in one of those episodes, and incentives versus entitlements as well. So ton of good stuff to kind of go through too. Any thoughts you want to layer in as well, Mikey?
I mean, we talk about it all the time. We're big on giving the reps the autonomy. Not only are we watching them do what they're paid to do, right, and giving them the flexibility to do what they need to do at their accounts. You see the results when we give them that flexibility, but also we're freeing up some time as far as on the management side, team lead side, ASM side too, of not having to create all of those tasks and not having to say, do this, do this, do this. Boom. Hey, here's the keys. I'm going to watch you perform, and I'm going to take some things away and probably suggest it to somebody else or share that with another team because it's going to be great. I know you're going to do great and you're going to find the opportunities.
How does a leader like you get that transition done with a rep? And like, what else does a team lead listening or an ASM listening or a sales manager listen and be like, cool, this is intriguing, but I'm struggling with making the first step with my team. They're not seeing the opportunities on their own yet. How do they start to do that? What's the first best thing to do?
Yeah, I think back to when we first started VXP and we had to make that transition too, and even just seeing and talking with some of our clients. But I think the transparency is first and foremost like, hey, rep, Johnny, this is the way it's always been. We've always told you what to do and how to do it, but you're smarter than that, right? We all know that you're more talented than that. So giving you the keys to make your own decisions. And this is how we're going to go about that. And this is kind of the things that I would like to see you start doing on your own and creating, and discovering these opportunities on your own. And I'm also here to learn from you as well, because you're the manager in these accounts, right? I may be your manager, but you are the manager in these accounts. You're going to know them best. You're going to know what the best decision for each account is and what you can capitalize on. And I'm going to be learning from you so that I know what you're doing in your field or in your market, but I'm also sharing that with some other teams as well. But I think that's the first step, is just saying, hey, this is where we're going. This is the way we've done it. This is where we're going. This is kind of what the expectation is, what I expect now with this newfound freedom.
Yeah. To me, it's always been like, how do we collaborate with reps around this? How do we get reps to be the central source of driver of knowledge and capable and interesting stories? Love to tell stories at clients' visits. So one of my favorite things to do is to do a happy hour after
Mm-hmm.
we do our on-site visit. And when we do the happy hour with the team, when we have that in our schedule, when we're able to have it in the schedule and it geographically makes sense, we're able to like get the crew around. And I tell every one of them, like, I'm going to be calling on people on Wednesday night or Thursday night's happy hour. So you better have a story because
Yeah.
somebody's going to call on. I'm going to pick out at random who it is. So come buckle up and ready to go. And they all show up ready with stories. I've never been let down from that perspective. So just telling people, this is what I'm going to expect,
Mm-hmm.
and then being ready at a sales meeting to have those conversations. We just talked about this on one of our follow-up calls with one of our clients. Was, Friday sales meetings. Every sales manager should be delivering a story to the senior leader of the organization, the VP of sales. And then that VP of sales is just calling on those sales reps to have those stories. Here it
Yeah.
is. And
Yeah.
then they're
That's great.
collaborating in real time. You're fostering and you're fostering the results you're looking for, and then you're inspecting what you expect as well.
Yeah. And you're getting the ultimate goal too, right? If we're giving the reps the freedom to make these decisions and choices in their accounts, we're giving them the recognition that's due as well, right? If we have somebody going out and they're doing what we saw in those pictures, they're making it happen. They're making great choices at the account level, driving what's best for the business with volume, GP, right? Making great decisions. They need to be recognized for that as well too. And what better way than in a sales meeting of, Johnny, what did you do this week? That what I saw on your account was amazing. Can you share with the group?
We need a name for this segment, Mikey. We've done this a few times. I want to do more of it because we're getting these stories on a regular basis. We need a name for it, though.
This whole segment of just like success stories.
Yes,
Yeah,
when sales reps read, because this is happening more and more,
it
and
is.
we're hearing these stories more and more, and I'm excited to get them, and I want to be sharing them. But we need a name for this segment.
Maybe we should rely on our listeners to give us some suggestions. What should we name this
Yes.
segment? Yes.
Yes, we need some name suggestions. So if you have a name suggestion and you're a listener, you probably have one of our cell phone numbers or our emails. Email us a name idea. And if you don't, email is info@vxptech, vxptech.com, and that will get to us as well. Shifting gears, Mikey.
Yeah, sure. Yep. That's a
Couple
great
of
topic though. Before we shift gears too much, I love that topic. I love when we get some real life scenarios from the reps. I think that it's one of the topics that really hits home most for our reps, our team leads, and our senior leaders when we have those one-off conversations with them and when we talk about it on the pod as well. So great idea. Let's continue to do that. Let's come up with a perfect name for it, but that won't be the last time we talk about it.
And if you're a listener and are a rep or a team lead or a sales manager and you see these things, send them our way. We will call your team out on the pod as well. So
yes,
shifting gears, a little bit of news. Teamsters to Trump put tariffs on Mexican beer. And I bring this up because we talked about this in our tariffs episode around would Constellation not have tariffs because of some of there's a consent decree where they're required by the federal government to produce all their product in Mexico. So that's a requirement. They're an import. They do all of their products. They build or they make everything that they make in finished products. Their leaders at Constellation will argue, well, we buy a lot of our, input goods from the American farmers in one way, shape, or form. So is it completely Mexican made? No, but it is Mexican manufactured and Mexico brewed. And they're saying like, hey, tough shit. Teamsters, they want their beer brewed in the U.S. They want to drink their beer in the U.S. And it's just what I said, is that it goes against the vibe to do a relinquish of or a carve out or whatever you want to call it. And an exception is probably the right way to call it. An exception for the Constellation or any brewery in Canada is just really not in Trump's wheelhouse. And here's the Teamsters rolling up their sleeves and saying, hey, we should stick to this. This should stay for sure.
Yeah. Interesting turn in 1 week.
Well, and like most of Anheuser-Busch's breweries are Teamsters. They're union. You've got one of the locations. I think there's maybe two. Actually, might be two of the locations on the Molson Coors sides are unions. So like, this is what they're looking for. And if you look at the political landscape, like Trump wants to do things for labor. He wants to fix NAFTA. He wants to say, hey, not everything is free. He wants tariffs. They have a big old plan around how tariffs aren't going to drive up prices in the U.S. and we're going to drive down in income tax and all these different things. Who knows if it will or won't work? But when it comes down to just the micro, we're not here to talk about that level of policy. But when it comes down to the policy that's impacting the industry, like this is playing out how we thought it would play out. That these things will probably stick.
Yeah.
And it will be a problem to contend with for sure for the foreseeable future. And then the other piece of the puzzle for a news story is Dollar Tree sells Family Dollar for $1 billion to PE firms. And I bring this up for a couple reasons, because one, it's a big number. And it's more private equity coming into owning retail partners that we as distributors work with. Two, historically, these chains are incredibly difficult to work with. They're labor intensive. They don't put their product on the shelf. They're limited to smaller drops. You can have a Family Dollar or a DG, a Dollar General, that just crushes it, but they're few and far between.
Yeah.
And we've showed up at Dollar Generals with nobody in the store. There's not even staff in the store. And I'm sure Family Dollar is probably not that much different either. And it's probably not going to get any better. So on balance, I don't know how good this is for those wholesalers that have a lot of Family Dollars or rely on it too. And like our brewery partners in Anheuser-Busch and Molson Coors, like they're big retailers as a national scale, but they're so small when you bring it down to like wholesaler volumetric or profit driven things, like they're so small, it doesn't really matter. And I also find it interesting, I'm going to weave this through, that sometime this year, Walmart is going to lose the America's largest retailer tag. Amazon's going to take that over at some point in time this year.
Yeah.
That when that happens, I've always thought Amazon is doing it largely from the position, or exclusively almost from the position of online sales.
Mm-hmm.
Walmart's basically in reverse. And they're almost exclusively doing it from retail space and from square footage. With Dollar Tree selling and DG Dollar General is still publicly traded. I've always found that Dollar General would fit and plug right into Amazon's business really, really
Yeah.
well.
Tell me more.
Because Amazon's all online, and there's a huge, if you look at the map of their Prime users
Mm-hmm.
and their core Prime users, and the map of Dollar General stores, they're complementary to each other. A hyper
Okay.
focused Prime user is not necessarily inclusive of where Dollar General has deep store footprint. And
Mm-hmm.
if they bought DG, it would have an effect around, basically you could have a Prime user in a small rural market that's not a Prime user because it just gets shipped next day to the DG store.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It doesn't go to your house, but it just goes to the DG. Or you've got these little mini, distribution centers in Dollar General.
Do you think that we would need to unpack the Dollar Generals that we have now in order for them to be purchased? Because every one of them is, every one of Dollar Generals is, they're still on carts, right? The whole store is on carts because there may be one person working the entire store. No, I love that idea. That's great. I mean, we spend a lot of time in rural areas, right, where you're northern Michigan or out, and the only store in town is a Dollar General. You have a gas station, and
Family
before
Dollar.
that, yeah, the town that we go to all the time in northern Michigan, the only thing we've ever had for the last 15 years was a gas station, and the gas station sold everything. And then DG comes to town, you're like, whoa, I can actually buy dish soap now, or I don't have to travel 30 minutes or 40 minutes into town to get something. But no, that's great because I look at my family lives in a rural community in northern Michigan, and their Prime, if they order something on Prime, it's taking 3 days. I could order it, it's here the next morning.
Yep.
So to have that drop station of like, I really need this now, boom, I'll shoot down to the DG and grab it.
And they got those locker things. They've already made up. The industry is already built up. People like my brother-in-law, Paul, ran Walmart pickup for the longest time. And from the engineering side, they built like a 30-foot or 40-foot vending machine that was just on in-store pickup for Walmart. And it was like the first one of its kind. They had this sucker built in Estonia, which is insane. And it was flown over here and assembled over here in front of the Walmart stores. But like, you could do this in a heartbeat, and it would immediately inject Amazon with a ton of square foot real estate. And I always thought that they would do it through the lens of that before we figured out that their Amazon checkout in their stores up in the Pac Northwest was fake. Did you hear this story?
No.
So they said, like, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, they told everybody that they had figured out a way to monitor how you were shopping in the store, and that there were no checkout lines. You walked in the store, you walked around, you filled up your shopping cart with stuff, or called Amazon Go stores, and then you walk right out. You didn't go through checkout, you didn't scan a UPC code, you didn't do a self-checkout, you just walk right out. We'll come to find out they were just having a bunch of people, more than likely in India, watching cameras and checking out for you. It was not technology based.
Oh, really?
They finally admitted to that late last year, and it was not AI. There was no technology to it. It was people and video camera surveillance, and they were actually checking out the customer in a user interface on their end as they shop the store. Like, oh, that looks like a piece of gum. Oh, that looks like steak. Oh, that looks like this. And then they were filling out their cart and then checking out for the customer on a web page.
No room for error there at all.
I thought they would do that. I was like, dude, if they actually figured this out, like, this would be perfect for Dollar Generals. Nobody's there anyways. There's never an employee there anyways.
Never, because they're trying to unpack the carts that are never ending. You get 2 carts unpacked a day, but 30 more come in. So the whole store is just carts.
I always wanted, when you get those notices of like out of stocks and whatnot from the DG system and complaints or whatnot, it's like half the time was like, you don't even sell that product.
No,
it's not even in the set.
Exactly.
It was insane. Every time my dad would come in and say, we got another email from DG, I was like, I do not want to talk about this.
No,
do not want to talk about this. It's such a small part of our business. Well, that was my rant on what I think that is going to happen, or a little like put that out in the universe and see what happens. Who knows? We'll see.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Yep. Amazon General's coming to a small town near you very soon.
AG.
AGs.
AG. Or would it be ADG? Would it be
ADG.
ADG? Amazon
Ad?
Dollar General.
Huh. I don't know.
Or would it be Amazon Dollar? AD.
Amazon dollar. The amazing dollar.
Well, good stuff. Mikey, anything else we want to touch on today?
No, man. Go green.
That was stuff. Awesome. Well, thanks for listening. If you're enjoying this, please continue to listen, like, subscribe, and review. If you've got something you've been working on in the market, got a picture, got a story to tell, send us. We will name this sucker as a section, and we will continue to do it. You can hit us up at info@vxptech.com. info, everybody should know how to spell info, but info@vxptech.com. And Mikey, enjoy the weekend, my man. Cheers.
Cheers.